This Week in Gaming with Naomi Kyle.
Happy Thanksgiving, Canada. I'm Naomi Kyle, and welcome back to This Week in Gaming. This week, we're catching up on Nintendo's latest piece of tech, Pokémon developer Game Freak's devastating hack, toxicity in Call of Duty, and Xbox. We've got all of this week's gaming news. Let's get started. Nintendo revealed their latest piece of hardware, and no, it isn't the Switch 2. Nintendo's latest tech is an interactive alarm clock. Yes, you heard that right. The Alarmo, as Nintendo is calling it, allows the users to pick one of 5 themes based on Nintendo Switch games. The themes are based around popular Switch games Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 3, Pikmin 4, and Ring Fit Adventure. Nintendo plans on adding themes from their other video games in the future, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing. Themes are nice and all, but what is it about the Alarmo that separates this alarm clock from all the others? Well, Nintendo has equipped Alarmo with a motion sensor that tracks your movement while you sleep. Sure, it sounds a little creepy, but the motion sensor is used to turn your body into a controller to gamify the experience of waking up. A deep morning stretch can activate a hidden coin block, or big yawn could evoke the roar of a lion. And when you finally get out of bed, you'll be rewarded with fanfare from the game of your choosing, and your morning alarm will come to a halt. Let's talk specs. The Alarmo has a large button on top that acts as both a dial and a confirm button. There are notification and back buttons on the left and right side. The Alarmo has a circular 2.8-inch LCD screen and has brightness and motion sensors embedded on the top and bottom of the screen. On the back is a speaker and a USB-C port for power. The Nintendo Alarmo is priced at $100 and is currently only available for purchase by Nintendo Switch Online members in North America. I would obviously get this, but sadly the Alarmo doesn't currently work if you share a bed with another person, and I don't think Kyle or our dog Odin would forgive me if I made them sleep in the guest room just so I can play Nintendo. The Pokémon developer Game Freak has been the victim of a hack that has resulted in the leak of over 1 terabyte of data, including development source codes and the names and addresses of Game Freak staff. Within these leaks are code names given to various projects, with one in particular standing out above the rest. The code name, Ounce, is mentioned several times as the target platform for the next Pokémon game, which have historically only been released on Nintendo hardware, suggesting that Ounce is the code name for Nintendo's next-gen console. Independent from the games was also leaked a plotline for a sequel to the Detective Pikachu movie called The Great Detective Pikachu, which was supposedly planned to hit theaters in 2024 before being scrapped entirely. And what is disappointing is that there appears to also have been an idea to create a movie simply called Game Boy, which was either supposed to serve as the third in what could have been a Detective Pikachu trilogy, or the basis for a tie-in film with Pokémon and other Game Boy titles. Throughout its history, Call of Duty online lobbies have been a breeding grounds for toxic behavior among its player base. To combat this, Activision launched an in-game voice chat moderator back in 2023. The chat moderator is called ToxMod, which identifies and reports hate speech, derogatory language, and harassment with the help of AI. In the time since the mod was implemented into Call of Duty, Activision has noticed a 67% reduction in voice chat-based offenses, and 80% of players who were issued a strike did not reoffend. Activision's goal is that players no longer associate toxicity with the Call of Duty series and enjoy a competitive and unsullied environment when playing online. And with the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 just weeks away, Activision hopes that the release of Black Ops 6 will mark a new turning point for the franchise, a step in the right direction. When Xbox Cloud Gaming launched back in 2020, it revolutionized modern console gaming. For the first time, gamers didn't have to own an Xbox to play the latest Xbox games. All that was needed from the consumer was a subscription to Game Pass Ultimate. And just like that, gamers around the globe could play AAA titles directly from their smartphone thanks to streaming technology. Fast forward 4 years, and video game streaming is unrecognizable from what it once was in 2020, with services like PlayStation Plus, Amazon Luna, and even Netflix getting in on a piece of the action. Microsoft is definitely feeling the pressure, but they haven't spent the past 4 years twiddling their thumbs. Starting November 2024, Xbox Cloud Gaming is expanding to allow subscribers to stream games that they own that are not currently included in the Xbox Game Pass library. To make all of this work, Microsoft has been preparing servers dedicated to Xbox Cloud Gaming to support the streaming of thousands of games. Once the dust has settled, anyone with a phone or tablet could purchase and play virtually any Xbox title, new or old, console not required. Wow, the future is truly now, folks. Speaking of playing Xbox, gamers can now help those who have been struck by Hurricane Helene and Milton by playing games. I know. It turns out I've been a hero my whole life and didn't even know it. The American Red Cross is partnering with Xbox, who is accepting donations in the form of Microsoft points. These points are converted into dollars and cents, which are then handed off to the American Red Cross, who use the money to help those affected by the hurricanes. So after the show, if you have an Xbox, log in and earn some points by treating yourself to that new game you've been saving up for, and give those in need a one-up. Rounding out the Xbox news for the day, the company just announced they'll be hosting their latest Xbox Partner Preview event on Thursday, October 17th, which is fast approaching. At these showcases, Xbox typically highlights upcoming third-party titles of all sizes. According to Xbox, that will include a look at the new Alan Wake 2 expansion, The Lake House, new trailers for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, and the Dark Souls-like video game, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, plus some surprise world premieres. I will 100% be covering the event in next week's episode, but until then, I'll be discussing what we can expect from the Xbox Partner Preview with my guest this week, right after Games Out This Week, so stay close.
Games Out This Week.
On October 15th, Just Dance VR busts a move on MetaQuest 2 and 3. New World Eternum disembarks on the PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. Neva launches on PS5, PC, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox Series X and S. Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition crosses over onto PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. On October 17th, Blazing Strike kicks onto PS4, PS5, PC, and the Switch. A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead sneaks onto PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. And then Super Mario Party Jamboree rolls out exclusively onto the Nintendo Switch. And on October 18th, TMNT Mutants Unleashed shreds onto all platforms. Unknown 9 Awakening steps onto PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. And the Epic Game Store is offering 2 free games this week. Invincible presents Adam Eve and Cardboard Kings, which will be available for download from October 17th until the 24th.
Quest complete.
So that's it for the news this week. It's now time to chat with our guest, Victor Lucas, who's back to chat about Nintendo's new alarm clock, the Pokémon leak, and what we can expect from Xbox's upcoming showcase.
Select game mode. Multiplayer.
Victor Lucas, welcome back to the show once more. I appreciate you coming on and talking all things games.
Naomi, thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah, we have a couple stories, actually, I'd like to break down with you specifically. There's everything from Nintendo stuff to Xbox stuff. But this Nintendo release this past week, kind of a weird one. Not what I was expecting, but Nintendo released an alarm clock. It's called the Alarmo. What were your thoughts when you saw this on your timeline?
I was actually entertained. I thought it was pretty cute. And I think that Nintendo is one of these companies that is always trying to figure out ways to ingrain themselves into our lives in a different way. I think there's an appreciation at the company that we carry thoughts about their products and their characters around with us. And I think they've done the best that they can to kind of get into different categories like theme parks and now movies with the Super Mario Brothers movie. So I feel like there's been an effort with the company to try to do that with Wii Fit and different things over the years. And this is kind of in keeping with that, but this is also a much more sophisticated Nintendo than it's ever been, and a much more successful, entertainment company than it's ever been. So I think that the Alarmo is probably selling out. I don't know. I haven't been. I ordered one. I can't wait to check it out. Yeah, but I've heard that it was selling out in the New York store. I am just curious if there's going to be any stealth stuff, in like maybe a countdown to the launch of the next Switch or some kind of game mechanic, because it's got a little screen on it. You can put all kinds of cool animations from the different games that you love into the Alarm experience. So, some of the stuff seems a bit weird, like it making sounds whenever you move while you're sleeping. It's like, that doesn't seem conducive to sleeping.
Right. Might wake me up. I'm a light sleeper already, so. Yeah,
it looks cute. It looks like it would be right at home in a theme park, like in the, like some kind of fake home for Mario or something like that. He would have an Alarmo. So
it would be in the theme park, or like you said, they are very big about bringing to life the world of Nintendo in the real, tangible world. Yeah, and I feel like this is an alarm clock that a kid, for my kids, I would buy them this because it's just it's so cute, and it's like one of those things that looks like it literally popped out of a Nintendo game. Yeah. Like it could exist in the Nintendo universe, in that world. So I love that that's something that they brought.
Yeah, they're physicalizing it, like we're going increasingly more digital in the video game ownership kind of realm. Even collector's editions don't come with discs and cartridges, it feels like these days, right? Yeah. So I feel like if there's more ways, whether it's action figures or things like this that let you kind of entrench yourself into the fantasy a little bit, I think that's pretty cool.
I agree with that. Game Freak, kind of adjacent to some Nintendo news, but Game Freak, they're known for developing Nintendo games, Pokemon games, sorry. They were hit with a really bad data breach this week. Kind of shocking. It affected, the employees of the company. It was pretty bad overall, but we did get some news out of it, I suppose, some leaked information about upcoming Pokemon games. What were your thoughts about this overall incident when you heard about it?
I can't imagine the stress that game studios have at every level right now. There are just so many scumbags out there that are trying to tack into and get this information, and there's just lots of really insidious people out there that want to, steal this stuff and potentially leak it or hold it for hostage or try to make some money out of these situations. And it breaks my heart to see people go through this because personal information was part of the data breach. Right. And, obviously stuff that's coming, that's been filtered out from this leak is starting to hit press all over the place. And there's some pretty obvious things being revealed, like they're working on new games, and they're working on new Pokemon games, and they're working on Pokemon games for hardware that might be coming down the pipeline. Like things we could all predict, and it's not really, revelatory. Maybe there's some stuff that hasn't been revealed yet. Maybe the hackers are playing coy, but I certainly think of the people involved, just like I think of the people involved with the Insomniac breach that happened not too long ago. They're human beings on the other end of this stuff, in both cases. Some really crappy people that want to steal this stuff, and then the people that are affected by this theft. And I certainly think about that. I'm not shocked by the data. I wasn't shocked by the Insomniac data. I'm not shocked by the Game Freak data. Of course, there's lots of information about, things that have been attempted and things that some prototype stuff and some earlier work, and also some possibilities of what might happen with Pokemon going forward, some online stuff. All of it, though, in the case of both the Insomniac hack and this one, is all things that you can just sit down and think, well, of course, these developers are throwing these ideas on the wall, and they've got concept art on the wall, and they're trying to sort of grow these franchises in these kinds of ways. They're the first things that you think about. So I wasn't shocked by any of the reveals that happened out of this hack, but I am shocked that not shocked. It's becoming less shocking to see these hacks happening, but I certainly feel for the people affected. I can't imagine that stress. Could you imagine, like, to be that IT person or that team?
No, I couldn't. My heart sunk when I read the news. I can imagine just being in that situation, how hard that is for
Yes.
someone. And
Yeah.
you work so long on something, and to have it be spoiled in that way too is so devastating. It's just,
Totally.
it's crushing. And yeah, a lot of it was things that, were projects that once were and are no more. Like, do we need to know that stuff? Not really. But
No.
what is your stance? This is kind of something that's been discussed a lot in the industry, especially with all these breaches happening. But the fact that news outlets then take that information and report on it and give attention to the fact that these hackers hacked the companies. What's your stance on that? Should companies tread a certain line? Is there some sort of approach that they could take that's a little bit more protective?
I think the companies that have a measure of professionalism and an understanding of the ramifications of this criminal act do take some precautions. Unfortunately, we live in an era where information is instantaneous. And it's untrustworthy a lot. And people sharing material are quick to do it, and they want to be first rather than maybe righteous, or make the correct choices. And maybe not thinking about the ramifications of this. And honestly, when that stuff does get out there, whether through a traditional outlet or a just a leaker in general, it engenders people wanting to hack in and get a little bit of that notoriety themselves. They want to sort of, I think it creates that sense of taking credit for being the first to get that information out there, whether you're a quote unquote outlet or a leaker or a hacker, and we're in this really vicious kind of cycle now. And I think it's going to get crazy with AI agents being employed with all of this stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of, we're in for a ride. We're in for a bumpy ride around trying to protect information and trying to understand authenticity when it comes to information and trustworthiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have this conversation a lot, I think, Naomi.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's a bigger conversation to have for another day, the AI talk. But let's talk about something more positive. Xbox announced they're having their partner preview. It's going to be a 25-minute presentation, not that long. So I wonder what we're going to see. It's going to be, they say there's going to be some world premieres. Is there anything you're excited to see or that you're expecting to see or hoping to see at this event?
I really want to see the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release date.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be nice.
I was just looking that up, and it still says 2024. I think pre-orders have gone out there. I think there's collector's editions that people could, pre-order right now, but we don't know exactly when that's coming out. And I have to be honest, I'm in the haze of a million game reviews right now, and it's really difficult for me to go, what mountain of games can I look forward to in the next 3 weeks? I'm not in preview mode right now. I'm in let's play these things and let's talk about the new ones that are out there. But the Metal Gear game, I'm absolutely anxious for. David Hayter was out there tweeting that, alluding, that he may have been recording some new dialogue, which would be fantastic. I love David and can't wait to. I love, that's my favorite of the Metal Gear games. I think it's nuts that Konami didn't start with Metal Gear Solid 1 and remake Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
Or even the classic 8-bit games and redo those in the vein of what the new Metal Gear stories are going to be. But I can't wait for Metal Gear 3 to play that again. I know that we're going to see, what's it called? Wu Chang. Looks like another cool Souls-like experience. Lots of hacking and slashing.
Alan Wake 2's expansion to the Lake House.
The Lake House. Yeah, that looks great. We saw that already.
We did. Yeah, so I wonder what else they're going to show. Again, it's 25 minutes. What can they pack into a very short presentation? But yeah, I'm sure we're going to have so much more to cover once it actually happens. It's happening on Thursday at the time of this recording. Anything you're playing real quick that you want to drop a mention before we go?
Yeah, I'm deep in it right now, and I'm still playing a little bit of catch up. So the two that are sort of top of mind right now are Black Myth Wukong, which I'm late to the party with, but holy crap, I'm loving the game. It's just absolutely wonderful. And Space Marine 2, I've been streaming a little bit of that, And I'm jumping into, and I've been playing NHL 25 and NBA 2K 25. I'm going to be jumping into Silent Hill 2.
I started that one. It's really good.
Yeah, it looks so good. And Fear the Spotlight, I think I can say that. I'm going to be playing. I've got that. So I've got this stack of games. Neva, I think the new one that Devolver is publishing from the Gree team.
Yeah, coming out this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to play that. There's a whole bunch. There's tons. Iron Meat is one that everybody should go and check out. It's an indie game that's a lot like classic Contra. Oh. And it's a nice bookend with what Way Forward did with their Contra game earlier this year, the Operation Galuga, which I enjoyed, but I know a lot of people were cranky about that one, to say the least. But Iron Meat, I think, satiates in that sort of pixel creation kind of vibe. It's much more kind of classic in its look and feel. But I think they're both kind of cool celebrations of Contra, the enduring franchise.
Love it. Yeah. Those are all some great games. Well, thank you so much, Victor. I say this every time I go and we sign off on these interviews, that I appreciate you coming on the show, and I always appreciate your insight. But it is really great, and I'm just very excited to see this upcoming year what we have in games. So,
2025 is going to be crazy, Naomi.
It's going to be a good year.
We're going to be talking all the time. There's going to be so many awesome things next year.
So many awesome games. I can't wait. Thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you, Naomi. Take care.
Victor Lucas is creator and host of the Electric Playground Network. You can follow him on Twitter at Victor_Lucas.
Flawless victory! Continue!
And that's This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Naomi Kyle. I had such a blast bringing you the news this week. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to my co-writer, Josh Seaman. And don't forget to tag me on social at Naomi Kyle, telling me what you think about these stories and what you've been playing lately. From all of us here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you a gaming-filled week, and we'll see you same time next week. See you later.
This Week in Gaming is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more podcasts just like these.